Hi, CASEA and CASEA friends. Wherever you are, welcome to the Profit from Mistakes Webinar Series, powered by CASEA Dialogue. I'm Vincent Chia, your CASEA host. This webinar, the Profit from Mistakes Webinar Series, is about learning from our CASEA Logger, who are seasoned entrepreneur, business owner, business expert. We want to learn more about their business.
Hi CASEA and CASEA friends wherever you are. I'm Rudy Fang, also your CASEA host. The Profit from Mistakes Webinar Series is a franchise show powered by CASEA Dialogue of CASEA-BC. Today's webinar is our third webinar, and we are very happy to have our CASEA Logger here again with us, Mr. Kenneth Tan. Mr. Kenneth Tan is the founder and pioneer researcher of the Eureka water technology. Kenneth is water specialist trained by qualified water specialists in Japan. He's also a researcher from a Japanese water research group that specializes in water engineering and water chemistry. He has been in the water industry since 2009 and specializes in water chemistry and water formulation. As a water chemist, Kenneth works with companies in the food and beverages and skincare industry to formulate specific type of natural spring water for these companies' products. There are also projects whereby Kenneth provides consultancy for agriculture, aquaponic, fishery, and also water treatment industry.
Hi, Kenneth Tan. Welcome to the Profit from Mistakes Webinar Series. Thank you for all the sharing in the previous Profit from Mistakes episodes. Today, you're going to share with us a lot more about how your business and how, most importantly, an insight into the water industry. Kenneth Tan has prepared an interesting presentation entitled Changing the Way We Look at the Water Industries. CASEA and CASEA friends, Kenneth Tan will run this presentation slides for the next 30 to 40 minutes. Please feel free to type your questions in the Zoom chat box. At the end of the presentation, Kenneth Tan will answer your questions. Thank you for your participation. Kenneth Tan, over to you.
Thank you, Vincent, and thank you, Rudy, for inviting me on the webinar today. Now, good evening to all CASEA and CASEA friends. It's good to be here, to be sharing with some information to you. There are a lot of information about the water industry that has been transferred and conveyed over the years. However, I'm going to change the way we look at things. This presentation, I hope that I will be able to achieve the result that means I will be able to amaze everyone in this outlook. Now, let me begin. As introduced, I'm a CEO and founder. As a businessman, I'm also a water chemist or water specialist that is researching on water itself. I'm really in about 12 years in the industry, and I have also developed my own water technology process that is really in use in the F&B and skincare industry in Singapore and overseas. Some of the achievements that I have done is in 2015, I brought one of my research company to a great height that we have been awarded in 2015 as the Asia Pacific Brand Award as Asia Pacific's finest. 3 years ago, I was introduced and to showcase and do a presentation on the Chilex Asia to showcase my research and development on the fire technology and invention of glacier iceberg water that is applied into F&B business. Is a good opportunity to showcase in public. Now, we move on to what is the objective today. So what is water worth as a global business in the value right now in the market? Now, we cover it into three basic areas, or the common areas that is actually been what we have been commonly known. Now, the first one is actually the water treatment plant that do water desalination. In every country, in order to produce local tap water or potable drinking water, the government usually invests a lot of money into this desalination plant. This is a very big industry. Some countries has a lot of this, especially in the Middle East, and countries like Singapore that they don't have their own water source. We have to depend on desalination. You have water filtration products. There's a residential business and also commercial. Then you have bottled water supplies where you buy bottled water off the shelf from supermarkets. industry that covers into this area, we are looking at about a $10 trillion industry on a global scale. However, we are not actually touching in a bit that is the real figure. Now, what is actually the actual figure of a global business? If we look at water itself, is actually used in almost practically every industry in the world. We didn't realize the commercial value. So I will be sharing with you the commercial value. So let's look at it. Now, if you look into covering into a few other industries, actually the global net worth value is more than $900 trillion. Nobody will believe that figure if I put it there. Let's look at it. F&B and beverage industry uses water as an ingredient. Nearly every type of food or beverages uses water. It's not just about water treatment only. Some of the water, a lot of companies around the world invest into a lot of money. It's like some of them actually extract or they actually take mountain spring water. They invest very heavily into underground spring water. That industry is practically very big. Skincare manufacturing, almost every product that is in the skincare industry, every product is actually using water. It is one of the major and key ingredient. Health and wellness, you look at a lot of therapeutic, you look at a lot of medical, they use different type of water. Water is actually, to a lot of industry, we actually has ignored it. Tourism that covers into spas, hot springs, and resorts, hotels, and all this. This is a very big industry. Like in Japan, you have hot springs. In Taiwan, in China, even in Europe, the investment of this type of water, whether it's an indoor, outdoor, is tremendous. The next one is agriculture. You cannot farm without water, and a lot of people has invested a lot of money into hydroponics, agriculture. Even they have invested into research and development of the right type of water that is used to help increase the crop growth and yield. Fishery. If you need to keep fish, they actually have to survive in water. So the type of water that is used is also important. You don't breed them in just lakes or in ponds or even in sea. There are a lot of other problems that you need to invest and look into. So the investment cost is also very high. Technically, it spans across all the industry, and there are also many industries that I have not mentioned here. So if you look at the net worth, it is a lot of money. Now, what is the real truth that I want to convey here is 90% of our planet is covered by water. But our understanding of water is actually less than 3% by the common people. If you ask a person, they say, I know everything about water. Technically, even researchers and scientists will tell you, maybe we only the combined knowledge is about 20 to 30% about water is actually the real information that we have. We are still studying, and the studies are still ongoing. That's why you have many people researching on different type of water. Let me quote a few examples. Now, there are some useful knowledge on water that I can share with you all about. In the deepest part of ocean or the sea, marine life can survive for a very long time and can grow to huge sizes. You could have seen squid that grows up to very big size. You have seen whales that can live under the deep sea for a long time. Sharks can grow to a very big size. Even you look at the marine creatures, they will do. But the question is, how do they survive for such a long time? No, when I was studying into the early years when I was a water specialist, I actually found the answer. You see, the deep sea water contains minerals. There is a lack of food. Most of the things that you can find are actually minerals and plankton only in deep sea. They don't actually have a lot of smaller fishes that they can eat. So the type of marine life that is found is very. So some of the creatures actually are dependent on the minerals. And it is said that when they absorb a lot of these minerals into the water, that is found in the water, it can actually feed them as a nutrient. And that's why they can grow to a big size. Therefore, we are still studying into a lot more information. But to the general public is that they just know that they will grow very big, but they have no idea where it's coming from. Next, how does water affect crop yield and health? In agriculture studies, I also had a chance to do, because we had a department in Japan that is studying onto agriculture. When you use the water, see, plants actually absorb water through the roots, and the water is contained, does contain actually fulvic, humic acid, minerals, and some other nutrient. You need to use the right type of water that can combine, or you can actually bind with this ingredient, this nutrient that is then absorbed into the roots, through the roots to the plant. You need the right type of water to use. You cannot just use a tap water. If you feed it with chlorine, you will actually reduce the yield and also the health of the crop. Therefore, a lot of farmers are using the local underground spring water or the local fresh water from their land. However, if you bring the agriculture practice into the city, you might not have access. In fact, most of the time, you don't have access to it. So you need to produce the right type of water in order to help grow, because water is a nutrient to the plant. Without water, plant will not grow. Next, the research of using water is as an ingredient in the food and beverage is very important. Let's quote a simple example. The German beer that is brewed in Germany and the German beer that is brewed in Singapore, the taste is different. In Germany, when you brew, it is actually sweet. When you brew the beer in Singapore, it tastes bitter. It tastes diluted. While the one that is brewed in Germany is full in taste, is concentrated. You actually can taste the true flavor of the beer. Why is this so? Because when they brew the beer in Germany, they're using underground spring water. But in Singapore, you're using tap water. The properties of the water are different. That's why when they make the formulation, the taste is different. It goes into many industries. Like, for example, if you use tea. Tea itself, there are 4 common type of category: red tea, black tea, white tea, and green tea. The different type of water that you use actually affect the taste and the flavor. You need to do a research and development to find the right one that can blend into all 4. So there are a lot of products that is using. Even if you do in Korea, you make kimchi, although they said you don't have water, but they use spring water to mix their recipe. They soak the vegetable in the spring water to keep it fresh, so that when you make like sauce, like you make like soy sauce, you make like different type of sauces, the key is still water. So they don't use tap water, because in the area where they really make the traditional flavored ingredients, is using natural source water. Hot spring and resorts and spas are part of tourism. Is it? In many countries, they do. Even in Singapore, if you ask a lady, tell them, says, "Hey, let's go for the soak in the hot spring." They are all enthusiastic about it. They love to soak in a hot spring. When I'm in Japan, in Korea, I will soak in a hot spring. But when you bring this business out of the nature, you create and build them in cities. You don't have access to this tap water. You cannot be putting the tap water in. It doesn't sound logical. You actually will reduce, or it will actually make your business look cheap. So you need to research and develop different type of hot spring spas. You create different type of water like sulfur, salt. You have different type of mineral composition to produce different type of effect. So you can actually call it a different name. In Europe, there's even what we call the more spa, where the water contains a high level of humic and fulvic acid. Now, let's go to the health and wellness industry. Now, water is our first medicine. Most of the illness are linked to water. The first issue that we face is actually that we are dehydrated. Most people living in a city don't tend to drink water. Technically, I have seen people living in a city, they are working in an office, they only drink 1 glass of water a day. That is what is causing the illness. But another reason is human body are not accustomed, or you are not built to absorb chemicals. That is a very serious problem. We are not built to absorb chemicals. I quote a very simple question to many people that I go. Means part of my business is I will ask a person a question. I do not. If I were to put a drop of Dettol or Clorox into a cup of water and ask you to drink, will you drink or not? everyone would definitely answer me, no, I don't. But why would you like to drink chlorinated water? Because the chlorine chemical that is found in our local tap water has the same composition as the one that you're drinking from the Dettol and from Clorox. It's the same chemical. But why would you be willing to drink the Clorox in a chemical form that is called chlorine, but you're not willing to drink the form that is actually the real Clorox and Dettol? Psychologically, we are told something, so it's very difficult to convince. So the type of water that we consume and what is in the water is important. Now, the skincare industry, this one I've been doing for many years, and I think that many women or many investors or even many business owners will agree to this. The search for miracle water from the fountain of youth is a very, very big industry. In Europe, in some Asian countries, they are actually rushing, or they are always on the research to produce the miracle water they can make the skin look youthful and stay youthful forever. They're always trying to commit. We call this cosmetic water. Like for example, SK2. SK2 has their own brand of and technology called the Pitiara water. It is using mountain spring water mixed with rice water to formulate into a new type of miracle water, which is called Pitiara water. In Europe, you have glacier iceberg water, and I really tell you that some of the companies really went to take glacier iceberg water, melt it, and then they actually use it in their ingredients. So this type of cosmetic water has been constantly been researched and developed over the years. But most of the companies that produce the skincare product don't focus on it. The formula is as though is that this. It is as though as one basic formula is actually found in at least 10 to 20 different brands in the region. So this is an industry and it's very big. And we know that this is this is an industry that that many people will want to go into. Now, here I would like to stress a bit that when we study into being a water specialist, we studied into developing into this industry. There are two aspects that we need to be proficient in. One is the water engineering technology, one is actually the water chemistry. When we refer to water engineering, it is covering into water filtration systems, water treatment systems, minerals, softeners, activated carbon, sediments, filters such as PP, ceramic, and different type of membranes. Now, these are what we call hardware. When we want to go into the development of the water technology business, we have the hardware and the software. While engineering is the hardware, the chemistry is the software. So we need to study into what does all these things do. There are a lot more other parts, accessories, and all this that we do. And that is the process that we know. We go from the basic, from residential product or household product to commercial product where we feed it into F&B and small scale factories. Some of them are like spas, beauty salons, and many other. We are looking at a smaller scale. How I would term this is the small scale is residential, is like 10,000 to 20,000 liters of water. When you go to commercial, it's about 100,000 plus minus. Then when you hit it to industrial level, it is 1 million liters and above. So that is how we term it. Next, going into water chemistry technology, that is what I actually love. When I started many years ago, after I graduated, I spent 4 years as a water specialist in Japan, being trained. So I have to learn a bit of both. But after the 3rd to 4th year, my mentor has encouraged me to say that you should pick one of the topic and you have to be familiarized. I asked this question, which would be the better one? So he explained to me, the better one and the more productive, you will actually go into water engineering, where you can actually be a full-fledged water engineer, or you will be doing home products, commercial products like filtration system, so you can make some money. But the real niche market is the water chemistry technology, and that is a very difficult part because you need to study into chemistry, you need to study into a lot of things that most people will differ from studying into. So here I will explain a bit. The first thing you need to do as when you learn is that you need to know about water formulation. When I use the term water formulation, people actually don't understand because they cannot capture, because this is a very, very rare term. Water formulation refers to you take a type of water, you put something into it, and you turn it into something that is different. So water formulation is just like you formulate into a tea or coffee. So you might have used water and you put different ingredient, you produce different type of tea. Different tea leaf will give you different result. Then when you brew the tea, when you make the tea, you stir, you use the different equipment, you produce a different thing. So it is the same type of process that we learn. So here I will share with you a thing. Now, ionization is something that I have to learn. I actually took more than 2 years to study into ionization, how the water is ionized. For example, like ionization, you will need to study into the 3 basic type of ionization. Mineral ionization, you need to study into electrolysis ionization, and you need to study into magnetism ionization. These are 3 common ones. In somewhere about 6-7 years ago, I went and studied into far infrared ionization, how we use far infrared technology to ionize the water. Yeah. Now, then we have to look at the mineralization. There are over 80 types of minerals, minerals and elements that is found in the periodic table. They all actually are used. Different water, natural spring water, natural source of water contains different type of minerals. The composition, the content is different. The type of minerals is all different. Let's say in Japan, you have over 3,000 hot springs in Japan, and most of their mineral composition are actually different. So technically, if we were to look into what it is, we are looking at a very big type of industry that we need to study, and we need to study minerals, how they react and behave. The next one is what we call activation. To activate the water means to keep the water alive, or what you do is to instill life into the water. In nature, the life comes from a few factors, from the sun, where they have far infrared energy, they have a fully charged of negative ion and all this. So the next one is actually anion or negative ion in water. Then we have the structured water, how it's structuralized. Some people might quote Dr. Emoto's name and say that they put about hexagon water or ionized structured water. So these are some of the names that is and the studies is done. Then you look at the oxygen and hydrogen level. The mixture of the oxygen and hydrogen content in the water will change the pH of the water. It is also one of the factors that influence the water. Then you have ozone technology to do treatment. That one I went into because I had to study into therapeutic usage. But the real reason why I went to ozone technology was because of marine. When you do a marine, like you do a floating fish farm, where they have to need to use the sea water in order to do that, to breed the fish in the fish farm. Some of them actually uses ozone technology to sterilize the water. Some even to remove or reduce the amount of plankton or algae that is growing in the water. So they use the ozone technology for sterilization. Then the last part, which I have spent a number of years studying and looking into, is the far infrared technology, where we study about how the Earth gets its negative ion from how it actually behaves or reacts when it's in exposure to minerals. So these are the things that we need to study chemistry. It is very technical, it's very dry, but when we do water formulation, where we go into the real industry where you talk about water, these are actually some of the things that you need to learn, and it takes many years. I'm not even accomplished in this area, but in this industry, I have a very wide knowledge, which I hope to share in the future with CASEA and CASEA friends along the way. Now, actually, in my industry, many people ask me, I thought water is just water, but it's not really true, because of a few very important properties, which is the type of mineral that is found in the water, the oxygen level in the water, the far infrared energy that is found in the water. Okay, these are important factors that actually controls, and the negative ion due to the source of where the water comes from, we actually makes the water properties and behavior different. So if you want to classify them, there are over 3,800 types of water in the world that has different mineral composition, properties, and characteristics. But if you convey the message and you tell a layman about it, they'll tell you, I thought water is just water, it's H2O. But water contains many things inside that we have no idea it is. Even if you put chlorine in the water, you put fluoride and chemicals in the water, it is still a different type of water also. But we call this synthetic or man-made water. Now, what is one common thing all these water have? See, this natural water is found to have fine infrared energy in the water. We term this as living water that is perfected. So this is additional information. We create living water because it's a natural source of fresh water and spring water. The earth is, I spent a number of years learning about one term, in the beginning. We have to study about how the planet is formed. Because the thing is, our planet is actually 97% filled with water. But no one ever asked question is, how did the water, or where did the water come from? Because water didn't actually produce out of thin air. But if you look at the formation of our planet, it actually is, because it is actually through the condensation, evaporation and condensation, and also the water cycle that actually converts the toxin water, the toxified water, from about 4.5 billion years ago. And over many years, it actually nature actually clean up on its own to produce natural spring water. And natural spring water is used for a long time to produce into many things. But if I go into this topic, it's too long, but we need to learn a bit about all this, because a lot of industry is actually related to this story of in the beginning. Now, in my business, my product, my company, water technology covers into household and some of the office products is like basic water filtration system, hot or cold water dispenser, bottled water dispenser. We actually work with other companies. We also research into this hardware, into producing for clients. We work with some factories around the world to offer these type of products to some of the clients. And that is what we would like to bring the best to the clients. So if we work with partners, they ask us what product we have, we will always ask them the question is, what do you have in mind? Can you quote me an example? Because to me, I have a lot. I'm not a product pusher, I'm not a product seller. I am a developer, I am actually a producer. So you need to give me something more specific in order for me to do. So we start off first with a consultancy. But the water technology for commercial and business, this entity is very big. Earlier I mentioned that the current value that we talk about for the global net worth value is about 10 trillion. But where the remaining 890 trillion come from? Actually, if I were to share with you that the last percentage come from these three major industries, you'll be shocked and surprised. You look at skincare, manufacturing, beauty, anti-aging. These are a very big industry. I have never seen a woman not using skincare product. They have gel, they have miracle water, they have you have their cream, you have their kinds of different type of product. Even when they make mask, is also using water in liquid form. So you practically have an industry that covers an entire generation. You covers both the gender, male and female. You cover for all type of use. They have some is in daytime, you have some is nighttime. I can go on, the list is never ending. Technically, is women actually hold about half the population in the world, and technically you're looking at about maybe 1.5 billion people, women that are using skincare product. And in Korea, do you know that young ladies start using skincare product as early as when they reach puberty? That means between 30 to 14 years old, they are already using skincare product. I was told by my Korean colleague that their mom actually brought them to do facial as early as when they're in puberty already. So it's a very big industry. Imagine what is the real number you are doing. It's not just only a country, it's a global market. and a global industry. The next is actually the food and beverage industry. This is very common and very big industry. We need to eat. When maybe about 50 years ago, we say we eat to live. But today, I think it's really an understatement. People in the modern cities, in the modern world, majority of the people, let's say it's about over 3 billion population, we live to eat. We don't eat to live anymore. Because when I went to some countries, namely like China, food is on the table. I've been to northern region of China, and when they actually eat, you won't believe it. They will order like 40 dishes, and they're not small servings. They're looking like very big servings. They will eat like 1 or 2 mouthful, and it's all there left. They don't touch it anymore. It's a huge wastage. And when they drink like the white wine, they call it the gao liang, all this, they drink a lot. Technically, it is just like water to them. They drink wine more than they drink alcohol more than they drink they drink water. So it's something like it's a surprise. So the industry goes very big. It's a very big industry to go, and we have a lot of space and time to play with. The last one is actually the tourism industry, where we talk about the spas, the holiday resorts, we talk about the hot spring and all this. This is an industry that we have looked into. In Asia, it is very common. But along the way, as when we pollute the local water source, we will have to find alternative, and that is where we come in. When right now we are facing COVID, we are not going to go to Taiwan to go for hot spring. We won't be able to go to Japan for hot spring. We are not going to go to Korea for hot spring. What we're going to do? Some countries that don't have this will have to create this. They have to stimulate their own internal country. So they have to build all this. So you need a company, or you need someone to give you the guidance on how to build, what to use, what is the program you can do. You need to improve it. If you find a person who runs a spa, they will only tell you the spa part, but they will not tell you the water part. They don't know how to commercialize it. So you have to go further. So different people will actually invest a lot of money to operate a high-end spa resort. So we do have the experience in it. Now, we coming towards the end already. Now, CASEA Business Chamber and my company and myself, we are actually partnering up to develop a water institute in Singapore. We would like to offer the opportunity and to share the knowledge that I have accumulated over the years to business owner, to individuals, to even people who are already in the industry. There are a lot of knowledge, a lot of information that we want to share. We want to exchange. Not only when we share to people, we also want to receive knowledge. So we are going to start very soon the Water Institute to help develop and grow this industry, because we would like to cash in the global market for the next 30 to 50 years. Now, it's when we learn and we share a lot of information with people from many different sources of industry, with different part of industry, we build a Water Institute. We would like to formulate and put together many different business opportunity for individuals, especially right now when we can't travel or we have limited travel opportunities. We need this style of knowledge. We need this style of opportunities. So we will do the R&D, we will do the business conceptualization, and then we will offer it to many opportunities in other parts of the world, especially when CASEA has about 16 countries that is really part of the organization. This is a great opportunity. So I would like to ask everybody to hang on a bit, stay tuned to what we are actually going to bring forward to the market. Let us wow you. So stay tuned and be amazed. Now, I end with a quote. There is no such thing as best water, only the right water. That is what I've learned. My mentor have taught me this. I also have realized this. There is no such thing as the best water. There cannot be one type of water. There is always different type of water with different properties for different type of usage. It's not possible to do that. Unless you are talking about urbanization, industrialization, then you will talk about just only filtered water or distilled water. But if you look at a lot of industry that uses natural fresh water, natural spring water, it can never be the same because they are never the same. Even the mineral composition are never the same. So the takeaway message is there is no such thing as best water in the world, only the right water. Thank you very much. I will end here right now. I will hand over the time back to Vincent and Rudy. And thank you very much for inviting. And thank you, CASEA friends and CASEA, for attending the webinar. Thank you very much for your opportunity for the sharing.
Thank you, Kenneth Tan, for your great sharing. Let's see what questions that we have from the audience. The first one is, if I would like to buy a water filter, what is your price range?
Now, depending on the type of product, we will classify as two part. One is actually the commercial, one is actually the residential. Our price range goes about between about $500 to $600, all the way up to about $2,000, depending on the type of product. If we are using high-tech products like the smart water dispenser where they have tankless, it can go up to over $2,000. So a single product is that, but that is not the complete cost because there are installation, modification, that depends on the customer's requirement. For commercial, then the number is a lot bigger. The cheapest that I've done is over $1,000. The most expensive I've done is about 30,000 because it encompasses into R&D. Like I have a company that actually engaged me to do R&D for them. They paid about $16,000 just for the R&D to do the formulation of the water because they need glacier iceberg water to make the ingredient. So it is very different. It's very different. So, but we are looking at a very big range. So if you are looking at a household product, 500 to maybe about 2,000, slightly over 2,000. So if you look for commercial or industrialization product, industrialization is a lot more expensive. We are talking about 6-figure and above. That one is very challenging and not easy to do. Okay, thanks, Vincent.
Yeah. The second one, what type of water does your water filter produce?
Now, very good question. Now, if you go into the market, you look at a water filtration system, you will get a single type of water. We can do it. So our water filtration system can do, so I will design and produce different. But what makes make my company and make my skill expertise interesting is the machine. I usually will choose a machine that I can do modification. It means that I can actually change the type of water that I want. I can actually produce like alkaline water, pure water, clean water, hydrogen water. It is a mixture of different ingredients and minerals inside to create a different chemical reaction. So we can do modification. So client look for us because they either want us to recommend our best water, which we have, or they actually has a requirement that they need to customize the water for them. So as for your answer about what type of water, then this question is, do you have what are you going to use the water for? So in our one-to-one conversation is my first question to you, what are you using the water for? I will recommend to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vincent.
Okay. Yeah. The third one would be what type of products or services does your company provide?
Now, in general is that we look into different areas. Unlike normal product marketing companies, we are called water technology companies. So we produce the hardware. We supply the water filtration, water treatment system on mostly on the residential, household, office, and also the commercial skill level. As for service, we do a lot of R&D. We do formulation for them. We do a lot of work in the area. We also provide a lot of consultancy. Before COVID, we do a lot of consultancy. Let me give you an example. About 2 years ago, I was invited to Sri Lanka to look into crab farming. A number of companies or a lot of individuals are actually shifting the crab farm from the pond back into the inland. We're coming to inland because the pond and the natural water are being polluted. They're concerned. So the crab survival rate is low. They want to grow very, very big size crab. The Sri Lanka crab, especially the Sri Lanka crab, they want to grow so into very big size, so they have a bigger market value. The first requirement is that they need the consultancy in order to tell them what type of water should they use. But it's not filtered water because they breed the crab in the pond first. So they need to take and study the water from the habitational region that is the origin of where it comes from, and then we'll be able to replicate this. if you put the water indoor, you're recycling the water. So there will always be a lot of waste in the water. Sometimes there's some small pollution. So you need to clean up. But when you clean up the water, they lose the properties of the water, like mineralization. Some of the nutrients that is found in the water is missing. So the crab actually gets very skinny and very unhealthy. So they will invite me. So this type of jobs where we provide consultancy is important because we figure out what is the problem and they tell us what they want us to solve for them. So we have both consultancy and advisory service to water chemistry. We have the hardware and water engineering where we can supply and produce for them. So they are actually going to one-shop customization where our company provide innovative solution for the problem that they face and challenge. I don't think there are many companies in Singapore or in Asia region is this, as I know that there are very few of us around the world that is able to provide such a service. Thank you very much, Vincent.
Kenneth Tan, we have learned a lot from you today. Thank you very much. Thank you as well for being here with us today and sharing your valuable experience in the Profit from Mistakes webinar series, powered by CASEA Dialogue. I'm sure that all CASEA and CASEA friends can learn from your sharing today on having a new perspective at the water industries.
Thank you, Ken, for today's sharing. And thank you to all CASEA and CASEA friends for joining us here. See you in the next webinar of the Profit from Mistake webinar series. Stay tuned and goodbye.
Bye.